Bobby Ray said no such thing. All that we're saying here is that if you don't know what tribe you're from, if you know nothing about the Egyptian and the Kemetic mystery schools and the Aboriginal man and the connection to the Moorish Empire, if you know nothing about that and you only connect with Pan-Africanism, that's like finding out that one of your great-grandfathers was a convict and went to jail, and then being like, all my family are convicts. We all came from a long line of felons. If that's all you connect with, then that's fine. That's cool. But either way, understanding your history is just step one. That's just the first step. Now we gotta go to the next level.
Peace, 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 peace. I'm Rami Salam El. Thank you for joining us. Much love to you right now if you're watching. Yes, you. It's not an accident you're watching. It's not just by happenstance. You may have just been traveling down this YouTube rabbit hole, but it's not by accident. The universe aligned everything, and you clicked on that one video that led to this one, that led to this one, to let you to right here to hear this message that I love you. Keep shining. Keep being amazing, because you are. And you got to believe it. You got to be it. You got to know it. You feel me? All right, let's get to it. B.o.B. Much love to my brother. Been dropping jewels. Go listen to Elements. Go listen to Psychedelic Thoughts. Go listen to all the music. You know what I mean? Just all of his music. Go check it out. Go listen to the interviews. Been aware. Been knowledgeable. Much love to B.o.B. Moorish Science. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just funny because it's just a matter of time. You know what I mean? When I started learning about this information, I'm like, oh, it's just a matter of time. Once we understand what this really is all about, it's on and popping. And B.o.B. summed it up in a minute or less. You know what I mean? That you just basically, you can't get stuck into thinking that our history is just this limited portion, this limited piece of our us being enslaved. That's not who we are. You know what I mean? That is just a small slice in the long history of us. And I wanted to elaborate on that real quick. Just put out some sources, some information for you to research, and just try to tie it all together. One, I'm going to be reading from the Holy Quran, from Drew Ali brought, Horace Butler, When the Rocks Cry Out, and The Golden Age of the MOOR, Ivan Van Sertima. Boom, just wanted to, right off the top, just the first chapter, I just wanted to get this out the way. The first chapter is The Creation and Fall of Man. It says, time never was when man was not. So letting us know we've been here since the beginning of time. Not since black people and being slaves from somewhere in Africa. Since the beginning. You know, I think they just said but it's been recent discoveries of bones of over 200,000 years old in South Africa. I don't know exactly. You might want to research that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Drop a comment below. I just want to put this on the record first to get us to understand that our history is vast. You know what I mean? And we have history as ancient Egyptians. We have history as ancient Americans. We have history as in Asia. We have history in South America. We have history all over the globe. So we can't get stuck in one place. And that is kind of what B.o.B. was alluding to when he's saying, you know, you can't just be representing our history as people that's been locked up in prison. You know what I mean? Because that's just a small piece. And I wanted to show you a little more in this right here. Horace Butler's book. Amazing book, by the way. Please go check it out. This is chapter 7. One of the books the Ethiopian scholar sent contained an account of 2 transatlantic expeditions launched from Mali, a country in West Africa. Written by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, a professor at Rutgers who had come from South America. The book included an account of African ships sent across the Atlantic Sea by a Mali king called Abu Bakari. The ships were launched towards the Americas nearly 200 years before Columbus went across that same sea. So that would be around 1292, 1492, 20 years back. That's when Columbus was said to have discovered America. That's also the time the Moors fell in Spain, coincidentally. But let me get back to this. The two Atlantic sea crossings by the Mali explorers became more important when I noticed that the Moorish, quote-unquote Moorish, black Aztecs had arrived at Mexico in ships about the same time that Mali sent her ships across the Atlantic. Let me just read that one more time just so we understand. The two Atlantic sea crossings by the Mali explorers, the African explorers, say Mali, Africa, became more important when I noticed that the Moorish black Aztecs, so we have Moorish and black Aztecs, had arrived at Mexico in ships about the same time that Mali sent her ships across the Atlantic. Excuse me. Real quick. You know we good for having these cups, right? I just wanted to put this other thing on the record, and then I'm gonna skip ahead to something else. A little bit further, it reads: Spanish writers who saw the Aztecs and who knew the Moors had revealed that the Aztecs even wore the same clothing used by the Africans called Moors. So basically, Aztecs and Moors, Mayans, Olmecs, one and the same. Africans, same people, same history, different names, different areas of the world, same people. And I wanted to elaborate on that further. We're going to go back to the Quran real quick. See, because a lot of times people think this is just a quote-unquote religious book, but it's a little bit deeper. Chapter 45, The Divine Origin of the Asiatic Nations. The Asiatic nations and countries in North, South, and Central America, the Moorish Americans and Mexicans in North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, and Chileans in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, and the natives of San Salvador in Central America, etc. All of these are Muslims. Oh, wait a minute. What does that mean? Well, see, when you do some research, you understand that Muslims or Muslims is synonymous with Moors. And so this is explaining that all of the countries, all of the natives and the peoples, the aboriginals, the indigenous peoples in all of the Americas are Moors, Africans, connected to the Olmecs, the Aztecs, the Mayans, Moorish people. Yes. But I don't want you to just believe me. I'm going to read a little bit more, then I'm going to close it up because I got to go to work. And this is coming from The Golden Age of the Moor, Ivan Van Sertima, who was referenced in this book. The question of ethnicity. Los moros de la huesta todos vestidos del ciego et de os paños de color que ganaran las caras de ellos negros como la pez, el más famoso de ellos era negro como la olla. All the Moorish soldiers were dressed with silk and black wool that had been forcibly acquired. Their black faces were like pitch, and the most handsome of them was like black as a cooking pan. Those were the words of the 13th century Spanish monarch Alfonso X, also known as the Wise, in describing the Muslim invasion of Spain in the 18th century. At that time of the invasion, the term Moorish, Moros, referred to one specific African ethnic national group. Even during the time of Alfonso, it apparently carried that same single meaning. But by the end of Europe's Renaissance eras, it had taken on several applications. Today, multiple representations often come to mind when one hears the term Moor or Moorish. Moor or Moorish has even become a synonym for an Arab or Berber, as well as a general term for any and all Muslims of the Middle Ages. Muslims, as in Muslims, like it was referring to in the Quran. So this is just establishing that Moor and Muslim and Muslim synonymous, along with Arab and Berber. And then one more thing I wanted to put on the record. Yes, I wanted to close with this one. And this is coming from Jose Pimienta Bay. Shout out to you, brother. I have his book, Othello's Children, but I don't have it with me. Check that out too. Amazing book. Let us not forget that the Moorish / Muslim erudition, Erudition, encompassed the teachings of the ancient Kemites Egyptians. Let us not forget that the Moorish Muslim erudition encompassed the teachings of the ancient Kemites and Egyptians. Kemites / Egyptians. There are many historical correlations between the Moors and the ancient Kemites. Appropriately, those European nations where the Catholic Church was less politically powerful, such as France, particularly the southern regions, were able to benefit the most from the scholarship and cultural advances of the Muslim people. Muslim as in Moors, and also tying us and connecting us to Egypt and the Kemites and the ancient Egyptians. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. That's because time never was when man was not. Meaning we're connected to all of this. But we can't be connected if we're calling ourselves Negroes, blacks, and colors, because that past is limited. It goes back to slavery. That's it. That's why we have to change how we think and how we identify ourselves and who we call ourselves and claim ourselves to be. But I've been talking too long. Thank you for watching. Research it. Don't believe me. Look the information up. Don't be ignorant, because ignorance is not bliss. It just feels like it is until you find out what's really going on. That's it. Much love to B.o.B. Much love to you. Much love to everybody and anyone that's speaking up about Moors and Moorish, our history, and anyone especially that's standing on love. Because love is the key. Love is the answer. Peace.